Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thrive Labs, the best place to learn everything about technical analysis and the financial markets. Today I am a little bit sick, but I feel the obligation to give you a little bit of an update on the progression of Bitcoin. So if you like this video and if you appreciate the fact that despite me not feeling the greatest today and making this video, leave a like, subscribe and hit the bell notification button, because this is always the place to be when you are looking to get some grip on the charts. So let's get started taking a look at Bitcoin, giving you a small update, and I will also review Ethereum quickly and the state of the market. But I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor of today's video, Deribit. Deribit is the world's largest crypto options exchange where you can buy puts and calls on Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana. Options are great for hedging outstanding positions, but can also be traded. If you are looking to dive into options trading, then this is the place to be, as it has the most user-friendly interface and has the best liquidity, as it is the undisputed leader in the options space within the crypto industry. If options are not your jam, however, then you can also trade traditional futures, perpetual futures, which means futures without expiry date, and spot. The current state of Bitcoin is the fact that we have entered into a more or less of a corrective period. And this is for good reason, because obviously we have been increasing in price ever since January, pretty much on a straight line, giving us near 100% increase over here, all the way from $38,000 to $74,000, right? After seeing that initial rejection of the ETF proposal, all part of a larger trend on Bitcoin, where we really only have seen a real proper consolidation period, really, in spring / leading into the summer last year. And that is really the only real high time frame consolidation or retracement, whatever you prefer to call it, has taken place. And is this going to be the correction that we've all been waiting for, right? Now, I've done already a video giving you a little bit of an insight on what I'm thinking regardless. So if you're interested in watching all these kind of details, go and watch that video. You will find the thumbnail at the end of this video in the screen below. So you can simply click it, move over to that video, review what I've been saying there. As this video serves as more or less of an update on that older video that I've put out 2-3 days ago. So what is the current state of Bitcoin? We have a few more days worth of data, and within that construction we are now also starting to get a better grasp on, okay, how does this locally look like? Does this locally still look weak, or are the probabilities higher that we're going to see an increase in price? And of course, we have seen a really tremendous bounce, right? Where in the last video I gave out a sideways channel where, I was looking for the lows where there were confluence. We identified in that video more or less of a support band coming in here, right, where we would be looking for lows. And, we tapped that level really nicely, right? I also emphasized this with a daily level that was coming in here at the time. Right at the bottom of that channel, we have seen a major increase of price in one single day of 10%, right? Where we saw that initial bounce. If we scale into the lower time frames, we saw an increase in price, and we saw that drop where I was able to compound on the trade that I've already been taking from the very lows, compound back into the trade, or add more to the trade as the price is going into the direction that I was anticipating. Why there? Well, simply put, if we pull a Fibonacci much more locally from the low to the high over here, tapping that golden pocket right there in the pockets. And from there on out, we changed that local structure and made our rise, to the midline of the channel. Stayed above this for a little bit, hovered around there yesterday, and now we are losing that once more. So how does that overall now come together? How does that come together? Because was this a bullish rise? And why are we not rising in price? Well, as a matter of fact, what we see here is we see a consecutive succession of the price action making lower lows and lower highs each time coming back into that previous region of price action and then simply reversing once again, bringing us a little bit lower. So what can we do? We can do a few things here. We can isolate this piece of price action at first. We can then isolate this piece of price action, or now with the latest information, we can combine all of it together into one single construct. And the result of that is, and let me clean up and hide so that you can see it very nicely. We are more or less in a downwards sloping channel, and currently at the moment when I'm making this video, we are currently hovering around the midline of the channel that has already proven to us that it has been respected, right? Because it already gave us a resistance level over here, and now we are seeing that rotation to the downside thus far, also giving us at the moment a little bit of a reaction. This has yet to play out whether this is going to be a longer lasting support level, which can only be confirmed really if we start trading outside of that channel. So now, with that construct in place, let's think about the two possibilities that we have at hand here. Is this only the first leg of the correction, and are we on our way of simply making new all-time highs sooner, or is this just the beginning of something bigger to unfold? There's two options that we can go over. First of all, as long as we stay in or above this wide resistance support box, then the chances remain we're simply going sideways. And this might just be part of that first leg where we can look for that rotation to the upside. The alternative way is that this was the first part of that initial correction where we now have put in our lower high and we are looking to break this white box to below in order for a retracement to become more substantial, which, if you think about it and if you connect the dots here, what I said at the start of this video, it does make sense because Bitcoin hasn't seen a real consolidation lasting for an extended amount of time for over a year now. So it would make sense for us to see a little bit of that deeper retracement, which also means that it is going to take a little while longer before we would see new all-time highs. Now, on the short term, this is obviously a little bit more bearish, but ultimately, it is much more healthy if price takes its time to establish a new region of support and resistance taken from the higher time frame. If you're looking to trade this from a larger perspective, larger time frame perspective in a bull market, then this is ultimately what we're going to look for, right? And it also coincides with, being potentially interested in buying a dip. Now, I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I am here to reason my way through it and share my thoughts and experiences of having traded this market for about 7 years now with you here on this channel. So that is the second possibility, right? So shortly coming here to a conclusion here is with that recent progression, as long as we stay below $70,000, right? This is where this piece of price action started, where this segment started. As long as we stay below, the probabilities for another drop to the downside remain very, very, very high. That support band now has been tested, but the band is wider than just this little piece, right? And that is where our earlier analysis from the previous video really comes really nicely into play. As you can see, we now have 3 pieces of confluence over here. We have the bottom of this channel over here. We have the 618 coming on over here where the move actually started. So the low and then this latest rise from here on out, it gives us the nice pockets. And we have a low that I personally think is not the greatest low ever. So that can provide us the next opportunity. Now, if this was indeed a lower high, then it can also be that we are starting to break this box to the downside, where the next box simply comes into play around $52,000 to $50,000, maybe even a little bit lower, but that is where the next real support is going to come into play. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that this, for now, is serving you well. This analysis where you now have actual technical resistance and support points, validation levels, where we can say like, okay, price is simply range bound until we leave this box. We have technical confluence at these levels, really technical confluence. So there's no guesswork. It takes out all the guesswork. It doesn't, it takes out all the stuff that you might think like, oh, but I want a bull market now. I want this to bounce over there. Here, we simply reduce it to looking at the facts. If it bounces, we can look for upside. If we lose the level, we can look for lower prices. And then we can move on to the next one and look for the same signs that we want to see over here, right? So it's simply almost like a 0 and a 1. Is this true or is this false, right? Is the level holding? Yes or no? If yes, we can look for higher prices. If no, we simply look for lower prices. This is the purpose of technical analysis. It gives us the confidence and takes out the guesswork of the markets. And that is how you get grip on the charts. And that is how you can trade with confidence. Not only today, but also tomorrow and the day thereafter and the week thereafter, the month thereafter, and the year thereafter. In other words, this is how you become consistent with a system in place that validates your trade ideas or invalidates your trade ideas, right? And then if you happen to be on the wrong side of the trade, you also know that you're going to have to take the trade for a loss, for example. And if you know when to cut your loss, you can keep them small, and then you can keep your profits way bigger than your losses. And in that way, you can turn your unprofitable trading business into a consistently profitable trading business down the line. It doesn't mean that it will eliminate all the losses all at once forever, right? This is what Thrive Labs is all about. If you're interested in learning this, how to do this yourself in the long run, then we have an academy with educational material teaching you every single step along the way, thrivelabs.io. And we have a community where we emphasize this, reinforce this, and bring this into practice into a dynamic trading community where myself, other students, other traders are actively trading there every single day, sharing their experiences, sharing their thoughts, and growing together. That is the purpose of the community. So if you're interested in that, get educated, and you will take out the guesswork entirely of your trading career. Thrivelabs.io, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the website and maybe I'll see you inside. Now, we are arriving at the latter part of the video, and I promised that I would take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum is in a very interesting situation. Ethereum at the moment is simply getting rejected from some important levels. Let me quickly switch over to that chart as a matter of fact. And we can see here that, probably in my recording, we have somehow I have the levels are lost or accidentally deleted. So let me quickly just put them on again, right? So we have two levels here that I want you to be aware of. I've already mentioned in previous videos before that Ethereum is kind of lagging a little bit behind Bitcoin overall. Where we can say like, okay, on Bitcoin, we saw $50,000 in January was a really big level. Ethereum is a little bit the same, only it reaches these levels, lagging behind a month or so later, 1.5 months. We have surpassed this level now in advance, and instead seen a rejection just a little bit higher up with a level that I personally deem the last real big resistance level before all-time high. And technical as it is, again, very, very, very technical, we have tried to breach through the $4,000 region, but failed to stay there as this horizontal weekly level has done its job as resistance, which ultimately initiated that resistance. Now you might think like, yeah, but Bitcoin is dragging everything along. You might be right, but how do you know where, at what price point is the most likely on another asset for that to happen? That, once again, you can only know if you do technical analysis on that particular chart that you're looking at. This was that level. We've seen that retracement. We started backtesting this level initially as support, which was an important one, 3,500, because that was a historical high from the bear market where we dropped down, big bear flag, and continue the bear market in 2022 since then. Now we have been above it, tested it as support, and if we zoom back into the local time frame, we did saw a reaction of it, but we failed to reclaim and change that structure locally whatsoever, and instead saw continued signs of weakness with lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and eventually falling through, and in the process of doing so, continuing this trend downwards by backtesting what should have been support now as resistance. 35, 21 and 90 cents to be very precise. Reclaim the level and we can look for higher prices. Until then, lower prices are to be expected and the retracement is in full play. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that this serves you well just before the weekend. If this piqued your interest, again, I repeat, pay a visit to thrivelabs.io and maybe we will see you in the community where we do this literally each and every single day, right? I do video updates, I write out my updates and thoughts, and of course, I let you know when is it time to take a trade and when is it not time to take a trade based off of what I'm doing. So it's not a signal group, but for educational purposes. If you then decide to follow along with my trade setups, that is of course of your own decision, because the ultimate goal is that you learn to do this by yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, hope this video serves you well. Have a great weekend and see you in the next video. Cheers.